In this exercise, we're going to take an AutoCAD file of a structure and import it into 3ds Max. So first thing you want to do is go ahead and open up 3ds Max, find the shortcut on the server, and once you have it open, go ahead to File and select Import, and you're going to go to the bottom and you're going to find the DXF. Now you'll notice there's a couple DXFs, but it's AutoCAD DWG DXF. And once you have that, go ahead and select Open, find it on your drive, and then it's very important that on the smooth angle it defaults to 1.0. We want to, in this it really doesn't make that much difference, but as you start to bring in curves you'll notice it bitmaps. So we're going to press 0.01 and select OK, and it should bring in just as so. And if you notice on the bottom of the application there's a zoom window, and the way that works is whatever is highlighted with your mouse is going to zoom in. Now you can also change the look of it from smooth to highlights and wireframe, and the bottom is in the perspective bottom corner, but these we want to keep an isometric. This way we have a front, a top, and a left. And I'm going to go ahead and do the smooth angles. You don't necessarily need to do this, but this will help you see what's going on here. And then what I can also do is once I have the perspective view in there, I can zoom it, make it larger, and then I can inspect the image. Now obviously at this point I don't have any floor, but I can see what was imported. And once this is in, what we're going to do is in this instance we're going to make a rendering out of it, but first thing we want to go to the material editor and we want to find the materials, and the materials are actually in your computer, which is the C drive. I have a shortcut on the server if you can find that. If you are not able to find the shortcut, you can go in the file name and select your C drive. So go ahead and look for it. If you can't find a link quickly, what you can do is in the file name type C:, and then \. And once you select open, locate the C drive and then the program file and select Autodesk. Now you could also find it, really what we're looking for in this instance is 3ds Max. So go ahead and look in there, and then what we want to find is material libraries. Now for whatever reason, if it's blank, then go look for the Autodesk architectural and material libraries. And I'm going to select the thermal and moisture and select open. And this one is actually works well for architecture. So let's go ahead and select one. And then what I want to do is drag it over. This way when I open up the document in the future 3ds document, I don't have to do this every single time. And if I change the materials, it'll go ahead and save that for me. So I'm going to select a roof here. Alright, and then I can apply them to the structure. Now it's very important to realize that whatever layers I have within Autodesk is the layers that are going to be here. So if I just have everything on one layer, it's only going to go to one layer, but Autodesk automatically saves the walls as a wall layer, and we did do an exercise with that. So the other thing that you can do is hit the preview mode, and what this tells us right now is that I'm really not seeing these textures the way that I want to see. So I can go ahead and select the textures and materials, and I can change that. So I double click on the material and here, and I see that it's 0.025, which seems very small. So I'm going to go ahead and just change this to size to 1. I've clicked the real world scale to 1, and you really just have to experiment with this. And you really can't tell till you get a final rendering. A rendering is a high resolution image that is saved. So once I go ahead and change these and find something I like, go ahead and apply it to the walls. And then go ahead and select render. And I need to set this up. So it's a single frame. These are the sizes. Let's go ahead and do 640. And then I want to select a file for the output, files, rendering output. And it's important that we select JPEG image. That is a compressed file. So select JPEG and select a title for it and put it into your own drive. So I'm going to call this one cabin. And I don't need to compress it. It's only one image. If it was a movie, I may want to do it. And there's a quick rendering. And it actually doesn't look too bad. I can see the stonework and I can see some tile work. Again, you can experiment with it. Now the larger the rendering, the longer it's going to take. One frame doesn't seem like a lot, but if we make a movie where you have 100 frames, it can take some time. Okay. Now, once I have the object with the material that I'm comfortable with, like I said, you may want to experiment. There are thousands of materials you can use. Find something you like, apply it to your walls. Now you can also do this within Autodesk, the architecture. It has that option, and I have noticed that sometimes it's the best way to do it because it keeps the scale. So once I have an image I'm comfortable with, now what I want to do is I want to get a background. Now I can create a background within CAD, but I'm going to do something kind of quick here. So we're going to go to Google, and I've already decided it's going to be Field and Sky. You could really do any background. This is a pretty generic one to do, but it can get good results. And we want to select images and select images. The tricky thing here is you really need a JPEG image. Most of them are JPEGs. And select one that works. Make sure it's a full-size image. And the neat thing about this is that all I need to do to preview it is to drag it to the background into the CAD into 3ds Max. So get rid of that rendering and let's get that 3D view and simply grab the image and drag it to the background, and you should see it back there. Now the other thing I want to do is obviously I don't want a house in the sky, so we want to use the controls and find the hand tool. And move it down. And I can also change the perspective on this and get something that works here. Now the other thing that's very important is, unfortunately, because the way the computer works when we log in, it loses that image. So you must save that rendered image into your own drive that is linked, that is sitting next to the 3ds Max file. Otherwise, it will lose that background image and it'll be blank. So I'm just going to play around with it. I don't have a floor, obviously, so there's a lot of things here that I could spend more time in CAD. But find something that you're somewhat comfortable with. Ideally, my house would be about double this size, but at this point I'm just going to leave it at this. You also notice that little grid can help you. If you see that little grid at the bottom corner, try to keep that in the field, in the perspective view. Then we're going to go ahead and render it, and there you go. Once you have that rendered, in order to print it out, you have to open it up separately, and you can print it to the color laser printer. You can also save it as a different, I'm just overriding the existing one, and I want to see the material, that's why I have that. Now if I save it as a bitmap, it's not necessarily going to be ideal for us to print out later. So it's a JPEG, and that is essentially the completion of the exercise. We've taken an object from AutoCAD, imported 3ds Max, applied materials, and rendered it. And you have completed the exercise.